What happens when a millionaire CEO watches one of his own salesmen treat a poor-looking guest like garbage? Isaiah Norwood didn't build the company, but he sure as hell was going to protect it. His father had started the 11-store furniture chain back in the early 80s, grinding it out piece by piece. When his dad passed 2 years ago, Isaiah took over. The company was doing fine on paper. Sales were steady, stores were clean, margins were decent. But Isaiah didn't like what he saw in the latest customer reviews. Not big stuff, just little things. Cold service, poor follow-ups, a few nasty comments about specific locations. Something's off, he had told his assistant last week. Numbers don't always tell the truth. So, Isaiah made a decision. He picked Store 6 in a mid-sized city in Missouri. It wasn't the worst performing store, but it had seen a dip in customer satisfaction over the last 6 months. He'd never met the staff there. Most of the hires came after his father passed. The only people who'd seen him were the managers at corporate meetings, and even then, he rarely spoke. He grew out his beard for the last few weeks, let his hair go a little messy, and threw on a faded flannel, jeans with a hole at the knee, and boots worn at the heel. To complete the look, he dirtied his hands with a bit of engine grease. He looked like a guy who just came from a busted pickup and was thinking about buying a used couch. He walked into the store at noon on a Tuesday. The place looked decent, clean floors, music playing, nice layout. But within 5 minutes he felt it. A weird energy. Staff leaned on counters, barely moving. One of the salesmen, a tall guy with slick hair and a perfect white smile, glanced Isaiah's way, then turned around without saying a word. Isaiah paused by a brown leather sectional, sat down on it, looked around. No one came over. Nothing. The first person to speak to him was a young woman, maybe mid-20s, with a notepad in her hand and a badge that said Mira Weller Sales Assistant. She smiled warmly. "Hey there. Looking for anything in particular?" Isaiah nodded. "Thinking about a sofa. Something that won't fall apart in a year." "I hear that," she chuckled. "You want something firm or soft, and do you have pets? Kids, I can walk you through the ones that hold up best." She wasn't pushy, just honest. Isaiah liked her instantly, then came the moment that made his blood boil. An older man, probably in his late 60s, walked in. Torn coat, dusty jeans, shoes barely holding together. He shuffled near the recliners. The slick-haired salesman, his name tag said Tyler, looked at him, rolled his eyes, and muttered, "Here we go." Isaiah heard it. So did Mira. She flinched. The older man walked up to a recliner and gently touched the armrest. Tyler didn't move. The man looked around, clearly unsure. He caught Isaiah's eye and gave a small nod. Isaiah nodded back. Then came the worst part. The man walked over to Tyler, cleared his throat, and asked, "Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me the price on that brown recliner?" Tyler didn't even look up from his phone. "It's not in your price range, man. Just a heads up," he said flatly. The older man blinked. Okay, I just wanted to know. It's over $1,000. We got cheaper stuff way in the back, but I doubt we do payment plans on scratch and dents." Isaiah stood frozen. The man's shoulders slumped and he gave a soft, "Thanks anyway," before walking toward the door. Isaiah stepped forward. "You sure about that?" he asked Tyler, his voice low. Tyler looked up. You sure that man can't afford it?" Tyler shrugged. "Come on, man, you can kinda tell, right? You work retail long enough, you know who's buying and who's wasting time." Mira stepped in. "That's not how we relax, Mira," Tyler cut her off. "I didn't say anything rude. I just saved us all time." Isaiah's hands balled into fists. He looked to Mira. "Could you go check on that man outside, please? Let him know someone actually gives a damn." She nodded and hurried out. Tyler raised an eyebrow. "You knew or something? You don't talk much." Isaiah forced a smile. "Yeah, you could say that." And then, as if the universe had a sense of justice, Mira returned with the old man and said, "He's actually looking to furnish his whole living room. Just sold his house and moved into a new place. He's got cash in hand." Tyler blinked. "Oh. Well, I didn't mean," Isaiah interrupted. "What's your manager's name?" Mike, he's in the back." "Cool," Isaiah nodded. "I think I'll go have a word with him. You stay here." Tyler chuckled nervously. You don't need to do that. Isaiah's voice dropped. I really do. He walked to the back. Manager's office was small. A man in his 40s wearing a gray polo sat at a desk. He looked up as Isaiah entered. Can I help you? Isaiah closed the door behind him. Yeah, I'm Isaiah Norwood. Mike blinked. Sorry, wait. The Isaiah Norwood, in the flesh. Mike turned red. Oh, sir, I didn't know you were coming. Isaiah waved it off. Doesn't matter, I'm not here for a show. I've been undercover for the last hour. One of your guys just treated a guest like trash because of how he looked. Mike's eyes widened. What? Who? Tyler, tall, dark hair, acts like he owns the place. Mike rubbed his temple. We've had issues, nothing this clear though. I want to talk to him right here, right now. Mike nodded and got up. 2 minutes later, Tyler walked in, visibly nervous. He froze when he saw Isaiah sitting at the desk. Sit, Isaiah said coldly. Tyler sat. You know who I am? Tyler swallowed. Yeah, now I do. Good, then you know I don't make time for this kind of crap. Tyler opened his mouth, but Isaiah held up a hand. I watched you judge a man based on his clothes. You dismissed him, embarrassed him, you humiliated someone in my store. It wasn't like that, it was exactly like that, and it's not the first time, is it? Tyler looked down. Isaiah turned to Mike. Pull his history. I want to know everything, every complaint, every red flag. Mike nodded. Isaiah stood. You disrespected a customer, you disrespected this brand, and you disrespected the people who actually care about this place. Tyler opened his mouth again. Don't speak, Isaiah snapped. You're done here. Turn in your badge. Tyler sat frozen. I said now. He slowly pulled the badge from his lanyard and set it on the desk. Isaiah turned to Mike. I want Mira in my office first thing tomorrow. Give her paid time off today and put her down for a bonus. She treated people like people. Mike nodded again, stunned. Isaiah looked back at Tyler, who still hadn't moved. Get up and get out. Isaiah sat alone in the dim break room, a chipped mug of stale coffee in front of him. The silence was thick, broken only by the hum of a vending machine in the corner. He hadn't planned to stay long after the confrontation, but something about the moment wouldn't let go of him. The old man had left quietly, probably too embarrassed to say much. Mira had walked him out and returned only briefly to say he'd thanked her and didn't want to make a scene. The door creaked open. Mira stepped in, still in her uniform, her notepad tucked under her arm. I thought Mike said I could head home, she said cautiously. Isaiah looked up. He did. I asked him to send you in first. She hesitated near the doorway, uncertain. He motioned to the chair across from him. Sit, please. She eased into the seat, eyes flicking to the window like she was still unsure if this was real. You handled things well out there, he said. Most people would have looked the other way. I've seen it happen before, she replied. Different customers, same attitude. I called it out once, got told to focus on my own numbers. Isaiah leaned forward. By who? She hesitated. I'm not here to trap you, he said. I've already made up my mind about Tyler. I want to understand the environment. Mike's not a bad guy, she said carefully, but he lets things slide, especially when it's someone who sells well. Tyler pushed product, didn't matter how. Isaiah nodded slowly. What about the rest of the staff? She glanced toward the hallway. Most of us are just trying to keep our heads down. We get paid commission, but it's not steady. Every month it's a scramble. There's no real support. No one checks in unless numbers drop. Isaiah rubbed the edge of his cup. How long have you been here? 8 months, she said. I moved here after my mom got sick. I needed something flexible. This job was supposed to help keep things afloat. He studied her face. There were faint shadows under her eyes, the kind that didn't come from one bad night of sleep. You said you've seen it before, he said. How often are guests treated like that? Too often, she said. Older folks, people who don't dress nice, immigrants. Tyler wasn't the only one, he was just the loudest. The others, she paused, choosing her words, they follow his lead, just quieter. Isaiah stood up and walked to the window, then turned to face her. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? She let out a slow breath. The store needs accountability, not just firing one guy. If the culture's broken, ripping out one piece won't fix it. He crossed his arms. And what would fix it? Start with leadership, she said. Make someone responsible for the team, not just the numbers. Train people on dealing with guests. And make it clear that respect isn't optional. Isaiah nodded once. You're not wrong. She rose from her seat. If that's all, I should really check on my mom. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small envelope, handing it to her across the table. That's for you. It's not a reward. It's recognition. She looked at it, then met his eyes. You didn't have to. I know, he said. But I wanted to. She tucked the envelope into her pocket without opening it and left the room. Isaiah stared at the vending machine for a long time after she was gone. Later that week, he walked into the store again. This time, no disguise, no flannel, no dirt smeared on his hands, just a navy blazer and crisp slacks. The kind of look that made people stand up straighter when you entered a room. He didn't want that. But he needed it today. Mike was already waiting in the office, his laptop open, a legal pad filled with scribbles beside him. I pulled the records you asked for, Mike started. Tyler had 4 complaints from customers over the past year, nothing formal, just notes in the call logs. Isaiah sat across from him. And internal, one write-up, Mike admitted. Late for a shift, that's it. Because no one wanted to document what actually mattered, Isaiah said. Mike nodded stiffly. I think people got used to letting it slide. Isaiah leaned back. That stops now. What do you want to change? Mike asked. Isaiah didn't speak at first. He looked out the window at the showroom floor where a young couple browsed side tables. No one had approached them yet. I'm pulling this store out of the standard rotation, he said. We're piloting something new, Mike raised an eyebrow. Like what? No more commission-only pay. Everyone gets a base salary starting next month. Performance bonuses stay, but culture matters. You treat people well, you stay. You cut corners, you're gone. Mike looked down at his notepad. That's going to shake people. That's the point. Isaiah stood. Also, I'm bringing in someone to help realign the team, someone who knows what it means to lead from the floor. Mike blinked. Who? Isaiah smiled faintly. Mira, effective immediately, she's the new floor lead. Temporary title for now, permanent if she earns it. Mike's jaw twitched. Some of the staff won't like that. They don't have to, Isaiah said. They just have to get used to it. He walked out of the office without waiting for a response. Down on the floor, Mira was organizing a set of throw pillows near a clearance sofa. She looked up as Isaiah approached. He handed her a small card. Your new role starts today. Floor lead. You'll report directly to me for the next 60 days. Her mouth opened slightly. Are you serious? Dead serious, he said. You've got instincts most people take years to develop. I'm not wasting them. She held the card, staring at it like it might vanish. You'll get a pay bump, full benefits, and authority to correct behavior on the floor, Isaiah added. Mike's aware. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything yet, he said. Just show me I was right. She exhaled through her nose and nodded once. Isaiah stepped to the side as a pair of salesmen passed. He watched them glance at Mira, then at each other. Good. Let them know the ground was shifting. Isaiah didn't stay long that day. He walked the floor once, spoke to a few customers, listened more than he talked. The energy was different. Uneasy, but not panicked. Like a current had changed direction, and no one was sure whether to follow it or brace against it. Back at headquarters, Isaiah drafted a memo that would go out company-wide. It wasn't long, just enough to say that things were changing. That leadership wasn't just about numbers. That every guest mattered, and that the next time someone was treated like they didn't belong, it wouldn't be handled quietly. He ended the note with 2 words, "We're watching." Then he closed his laptop, leaned back in his chair, and let the silence settle in. Not the kind from a forgotten break room. The kind that comes right before everything starts to change. Rain tapped lightly against the showroom's front windows as Isaiah returned 12 days later, unannounced. He wore no disguise this time, just a dark wool coat and a calm expression. The lot was half full, the kind of turnout he expected on a Wednesday morning. He stood just inside the entrance for a moment, scanning the floor. Mira was speaking to a customer near the back, gesturing toward a love seat. She didn't see him yet. To her left, a short woman with tightly braided hair stood next to a tablet stand, inputting product codes. Her name tag reads Sasha. Two more associates were tidying end tables, one of them clearly new, still glancing nervously toward more experienced staff between tasks. Isaiah stepped past a row of bookshelves and approached Mike, who stood near the clearance section with a clipboard. "Morning," Isaiah said. Mike turned quickly. "Didn't expect you today, I know." Mike lowered the clipboard. "You here to check progress?" "I'm here because I want to see how people act when they don't know they're being watched." Mike nodded slowly. "It's been different, some pushback, but Mira's held her ground." "Anyone walk out?" "2 salespeople resigned last week. Said the new structure wasn't worth it. One of them asked if we'd gone soft." Isaiah looked toward the front register. "You replaced them yet?" "Working on it. Mira suggested we shift one of the stockroom guys up front temporarily. Said he's great with people, just never got the chance." "Name?" "Carlos." Isaiah glanced toward the warehouse door. "Have him come out." Mike radioed him, and a few minutes later, a wiry man in his early 30s stepped onto the floor, wiping his hands on a cloth. His posture was rigid, like he wasn't sure if he was in trouble. "You're Carlos?" Isaiah asked. "Yes, sir." Isaiah motioned toward the nearby recliners. "Walk with me." Carlos followed, glancing briefly at Mike, who gave a subtle nod. Isaiah stopped beside a high-backed chair and faced him. "I heard you've been stepping up." Carlos shifted his weight. "I'm trying. I've never done sales before, but I know the products. I've moved every piece of furniture in this place." "What's different about talking to customers?" Carlos hesitated. "It's not just about knowing the item. You have to understand what people need, not just what they say. Mira's been helping with that part." Isaiah studied him. "You like it out here?" Carlos gave a half smile. "I didn't think I would, but yeah, it feels like I'm part of the store now, not just the back of it." Isaiah nodded once. "Keep learning. Mira's instincts are strong. If she thinks you're ready, I'll listen." Carlos straightened. "Thank you." Isaiah walked away without another word, heading toward the corner office space that overlooked the floor. It was small but had a window facing the entrance. He watched Mira wrap up with a couple, shaking their hands before walking them toward the checkout counter. She joined him 10 minutes later, stepping into the office without knocking. "I figured you'd show up eventually," she said. "You settling in?" "I'm adjusting." "Some people don't like taking direction from someone they used to ignore. You managing it?" "I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to do the job." Isaiah turned toward her. "What are you doing differently?" "I started with the schedule. I stopped giving the best shifts to whoever had the highest sales. Now it rotates. Everyone gets weekend time, but no one gets stuck with all of it." Pushback from the ones who thought their numbers bought them immunity, but the new hires are responding well. They're asking questions, getting involved. "What about the customers?" Mira's jaw tightened slightly. "We had a bad moment last Friday. A woman came in with her son. She asked about a financing plan. One of the older reps rolled his eyes and told her to read the brochure." Isaiah held her gaze. "How'd you handle it?" I walked over, answered her question myself, and then pulled him into the back. I didn't yell, I just asked him to explain his tone to me. He couldn't. He's still here. For now, but I'm watching. Isaiah sat on the edge of the desk. "I want to know what you see that I don't. You've got eyes on the ground. What's missing?" Mira stepped closer to the window. "We don't have a training system. Every new hire just shadows someone and picks up habits, good or bad. There's no standard. What would you put in place?" 2 weeks of structured onboarding, she said. "Not just memorizing product info, situational training, customer types, conflict resolution, what to do when someone's upset or unsure." Isaiah nodded. "Write up a draft." "I'll review it." She raised an eyebrow. "You want me to write policy?" "I want the people closest to the work making the rules, not just the ones in offices." She folded her arms. "You're serious about this?" "I didn't spend 30 years watching my father build something just to let it rot from the inside." Mira looked out the window again. Then you better stay involved. If they think you've gone back to your tower, it'll slip again. Isaiah's voice was quiet. I'm not going anywhere. By late afternoon, he walked the floor again, this time focusing on moments that didn't announce themselves. A woman in her 50s trying to compare fabric patterns. A college student measuring a desk with a frayed tape measure. An elderly man asking if someone could help load his trunk. He noticed something else too. The silence between interactions had changed. It wasn't thick with indifference anymore. It was focused, watchful. Staff moved with purpose, even if they were still learning. Near closing, he stood outside with a clipboard under one arm, reviewing notes. Sasha approached with her coat draped over her arm. "You're the one who fired Tyler, right?" she asked. Isaiah didn't look up. "That's me." "I didn't like him," she said. "But I didn't think anything would ever happen to him." Isaiah turned to face her. "Why not?" "Because people like him usually get away with it. They sell well, they talk fast, they know how to play the game." "What changed? You did," she said. "But if you want this to last, you can't just show up once every few weeks." Isaiah nodded. "I've been thinking about that." Sasha adjusted her bag. "Then don't think too long. If you disappear, so will the standards." As she walked off into the parking lot, Isaiah stood still for a long moment, then pulled out his phone. He called his assistant. "Find me a small office space near Store 6, he said. "Something quiet. I'm going to be spending more time out here." He hung up, stepped back inside the store, and watched Mira help the last guest toward the door. The lights dimmed. The registers shut down, but Isaiah didn't leave. He sat on the edge of a display table and stayed there until the store was empty. Because the only way to rebuild something was from the floor up, and this time he wasn't leaving it to anyone else. The warehouse smelled like plywood and dust. Isaiah stepped through the side entrance just after 8 in the morning, coffee in one hand, a folder in the other. The store wouldn't open for another hour, but lights were already on in the back. Shelving units lined the walls, stacked with boxed furniture and folded tarps. A low hum came from the loading bay, where Carlos was helping 2 team members reorganize the delivery zone. Isaiah didn't say a word at first. He watched them finish stacking a pallet of box chairs, then walk through a checklist on a clipboard without skipping steps. Everything was moving with clear order. It wasn't fast, but it was clean. Carlos noticed him and approached, wiping his hands on a towel before nodding. "You here for the morning meeting?" he asked. "Not exactly," Isaiah said, "but I'll be there." Carlos set the towel on a crate and adjusted his jacket. "I've been keeping time cards tight." "No late punches this week." Isaiah raised the folder. "Good, I'm not here to audit you, I've got something else." Carlos waited silent. "I'm offering you a permanent floor position," Isaiah said. "Same rate for now, but you'll be included in the next wage review." Carlos looked down briefly, then back up. "You sure I'm the right one for something permanent? I don't hand out roles because I feel nice. You earned it." "And if I'm wrong, you'll prove it within a month." Carlos gave a short nod. "Then I'll prove it." Isaiah turned to leave but stopped. "One more thing. I'm assigning you to work under Mira on the new hire onboarding program. You'll be the systems guy." Carlos blinked. "I've never built anything like that." "You don't need to. I want you to make sure nothing gets missed on the logistics side. Stock flow, inventory tags, labeling errors. Let Mira handle the people, you handle the process." Carlos scratched his chin. "I can do that." Isaiah left the warehouse and entered the main floor through a side hallway. The lights were still warming up overhead, casting a soft orange hue across the furniture. Mira was already by the front desk, reviewing a printed schedule with Sasha and one of the newer hires, a quiet man named Deshawn who was still learning the floor plan. Isaiah waited until the conversation wrapped before stepping closer. "I want a staff meeting in 20 minutes, he said to Mira. She looked up from the schedule. "All departments, everyone who's here, pull whoever's available, we'll do it in the lounge area." She nodded and turned without a word, already moving. By 8:30, 9 employees stood near the lounge display, most of them holding coffees or leaning casually against armrests. Isaiah stood at the center. No podium, no clipboard. Just his coat hung on the back of a nearby chair and his sleeves rolled to the elbows. "I won't keep you long," he started. "I know mornings are for setup, but I need to say something before this store moves any further." He looked around the group, meeting eyes one by one. "We've made changes. Some of them were uncomfortable. Some of you probably didn't agree with them. That's fine. Disagreement isn't a problem. Complacency is." A few nodded, but most listened quietly. The culture of this store was off. I saw it with my own eyes. I watched someone get dismissed by a staff member because of how he dressed. I watched others look the other way. And I know that wasn't a one-time thing. No one spoke, but a few glanced at each other. "I'm not interested in punishing people," Isaiah continued. "I'm interested in preventing the kind of rot that kills places like this from the inside. And that means responsibility lives on this floor, not just in the office upstairs." He gestured toward Mira. "This is your floor lead. She doesn't need to remind you of that, her work does. If you're not learning something from her every week, you're not paying attention." He turned slightly. "Carlos is joining the floor full-time. He'll also be building the systems that keep this place from slipping back into habits we've already outgrown." Carlos gave a quiet nod but didn't speak. Isaiah stepped forward slightly. "We're not just selling furniture. We're shaping the last impression people have before they walk back into their homes. That matters. If you think that sounds soft, you're in the wrong business." He paused. "I'll be on site 2 days a week moving forward. Not to hover, to understand. If you've got something to say about how this place runs, say it directly. I don't reward silence." With that, he stepped back. "Get to work." The group dispersed slowly, a few lingering near each other to whisper or trade glances. Mira didn't stick around. She was already back near the textiles, checking SKU tags and signaling Deshawn to follow her. Isaiah spent the rest of the morning in the small corner office, reviewing vendor reports with a regional analyst he'd flown in the night before. But just before noon, he stepped back onto the floor. 2 women were looking at dining sets near the windows. One wore worn boots and a faded coat. The other had a clipboard in hand and was asking about delivery options. Isaiah stayed back and watched as Sasha approached them. No hesitation, no side glances, just direct engagement. She answered questions clearly, walked them through fabric warranties, and even pulled a measuring tape from her apron to check table dimensions. Isaiah waited until they finished and then approached her as she returned to the counter. "You've got good instincts," he said. Sasha shrugged. "Still learning." "I want to try something," Isaiah said. "Next month we're hosting a customer roundtable. I want existing staff to sit in. Listen to what people really say about their experience here. You interested?" She tilted her head. "You mean like feedback?" "I mean like honesty." "The kind people don't put in surveys," she nodded. "Yeah, I'll sit in." Isaiah stepped back. "Good, you'll be leading the follow-up group." She blinked. "Wait, what?" "Don't worry, I'll prep you. You've got a good read on people. I want to see what you do with it." Before she could respond, he turned and walked away. That afternoon, after the lunch rush dipped, Isaiah called Mira into the back office. She closed the door behind her and sat without being asked. "I've got a proposal," he said. "There's another store 3 counties over. Bigger footprint, rougher numbers. You think you're ready to take what we've done here and help them do the same?" She looked at him, quiet for a long moment. "You want me to leave this store, not permanently, just for a rotation. 60 days. You'll go in, assess, and write a report. You'll have full authority to make structural adjustments." She didn't answer right away. "I'm not interested in promoting you out of the field," he said, "but I need someone who knows what real correction looks like." She leaned back slightly. "You think they'll listen to someone from another branch?" "They'll listen," he said, "or they won't last." She gave a slow nod. "Let me finish what I started here," she said. "Give me 1 more week, then I'll go." Isaiah stood. "Fair enough." That evening, as the last customers filtered out and the staff started closing down registers, Isaiah walked the floor one final time. He didn't stop to talk, he didn't inspect. He just watched. People moved with intention. No one stood idle, no one whispered behind backs. The air was sharper, not tense, just focused, and for once it didn't feel like he was waiting for something to go wrong. He stood near the exit as the lights dimmed, coat draped over one arm, and watched Mira lock the front doors. She turned and walked past him, nodding once without breaking stride. He didn't need a thank you, he didn't need applause, he just needed the work to keep moving. And this time it finally was.